I wanted to do today, for those who don't know me, my name is Jamie, and I own a company called The Wellness Warrior, where I am the founder and a certified life and business coach. So we offer a lot of different workshops. We offer life coaching available via Zoom right now on a sliding scale, meaning you pay what you can afford to pay, which I absolutely love. I'm in my comfy clothes like we all should be. And what I really wanted to take time to go through with you guys is not specifically all the habits that help our mental wellness, but actually how to implement these in our lives. And so I think that's the problem that a lot of people... I'm just getting messages from Des that I was sideways now, so I'm just going to go this way. This is the first one, so sorry for any technical difficulties.
The board.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's mirrored.
I know the board is mirrored. So yeah, if you have any questions at all during this time, just feel free to shout out, let me know. And we'll get started. So, can you fix this again? Okay. I think you need to look from the front. Okay. So I want to talk about wellness habits that are going to actually keep us healthy during this time, so both mentally and physically, which is extremely important. So many of us know what we actually should be doing, but what is it? And this is something that I focus on with my clients, is actually implementing these habits into our everyday lives. So over here, you can see the first one. I have drawn a positive and negative habit cycle. So right now you can see the positive side, which is fine. And no, this is not about productivity. I just want to make that really clear to everyone. This is not about being productive and doing everything you can. This is about the habits that you can do in your everyday life that are going to keep you mentally healthy during this really difficult time that we're all facing. These tools that you need in your toolkit. And we know them, but they're hard. They're hard to figure out how to do it. So I want you to grab a pen and paper. I want you to write this stuff down, because a dream without a plan is nothing. So we need to actually write these down and make it tangible so we understand what is going on. So first, I'm going to write down some of the things that we know are helpful for our mental health. And what I want you to do is look at this list, look at some of your own, and pick just 3 to focus on. These can be small, these can be big, but you should only have 3, because when we focus on too many things, which I see a lot of my clients try to do, they're like, I want to do this, and you're doing this, and this person's doing this. That's great. They probably took a long time to get to that state where they're able to do all of these things. So we often see people fail when they try to take it on all at once. That's not going to work. So a few of my favorites that are proven to work, and I just want to be very clear and honest with you guys. I created the Wellness Warrior because I am a businesswoman who suffers from anxiety myself. So I am with you. I get it. This is hard times, and we need to have our toolbox filled. So important. So some of my favorites: move your body. Move your body for 30 minutes a day. This is huge, absolutely massive for your mental health. Notice I don't say you have to sweat, drip sweat from your face. You have to take time to move, get outside, do something for yourself. Another amazing one is taking time to journal. So there's a lot of journaling prompts out there, and I encourage you to figure out what works best for you. So I take time to journal my gratitudes, my affirmations, what I want to focus on for the day. There's so many different options for this. Meditation is absolutely key. Meditation, even for 10 minutes. I do 10-minute meditations, and they allow me to be able to recognize when my head is going into a negative mind space. That's what it's going to help you do over time. You're not going to see the benefits right away, but you will see them. They will help you guys so much. So, meditation is another one. If you're looking for free meditation, there is an app called the Insight Timer app. It's completely free. You can look up any meditation you want, a morning meditation, learning to meditate. They're all so amazing. So meditation is a huge one. Drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. This is so important to flush out our bodies, to help with our overall health. A lot of times you don't realize you're actually just thirsty and you're gonna go grab something to eat. And I always encourage you to take a huge, chug a huge glass of water before you eat anything. And you'd be surprised with the fact that you're probably just thirsty. It's crazy. So drinking water. Take time for things that bring you joy. So whatever that looks like. Maybe it's reading, spending more time reading. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Whatever that looks like for you. My list could really go on and on. And then on the other side, I kind of want to talk, I wonder if we can rotate this a little bit. So this is the negative habits. I'm going to write down a couple here because I want to take a couple minutes to look at this side as well. So some negative habits, I encourage you guys to pick one. And the ones that come to my head immediately are social media scrolling aimlessly and eating excess crap, if we put it that way. So I love a donut myself, but it's in moderation. When we're just eating foods that aren't going to fuel our body, we are not going to get anywhere. So that's really important. So I want you to pick 3 from this. No more than 3. This is how we're going to actually make progress. So write this all down, you guys. This is really important. Again, if you have questions at any time, feel free to throw them out. So this is the actual habit cycle, and it looks like this. Cue, action or habit, and reward. And the cue is a really important part. So a lot of times when we look at a cue, we think that motivation is really tied to habits, when in fact it's actually not. A lot of times habits come from other habits. If you have a habit that already exists in your life, that is so essential for creating a new habit. So this is what I'm talking about when I say a cue that already exists. So I'll give you an example. The second I wake up and my alarm goes off, I put on my workout clothes. So when you have a cue, you want to be as specific as you possibly can. It cannot be vague, it has to be very clear. So another one is when I let my dog in from going pee outside, I grab my journal and I begin to journal. So that is my cue. I always let my dog out in the morning. So that already exists, it's already a habit. There's other ones, brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast. Anything that is already an existing cue in your life, and they can build on one another, which is so great. And then we have the actual action. So the action or the habit that you decided that you want to implement. And the way that you make that habit successful is being specific, again, as specific as possible. So if you want to implement a habit like you are going to take time to journal, for example. If you don't know what you're journaling about, you don't know when you're going to do it, you don't have your pen and your fancy notebook, it's not going to go very well. So this is another problem I see from people. They want to make a great morning routine, but they don't necessarily have the tools, or they wake up and they're not completely sure with what they're going to do at that time. So be very specific with yourself, and this is going to make the habit easier to do. We often get stuck in this phase right here. So this is between the cue and the action. So what can often happen to us is we don't know, or we have a thought that goes through our head. Very often that's like, okay, I had the cue. I know what I have to do next. I know I have to put my running shoes on. I know I have to take time for learning. I don't want to. So what are the ways that we can get out of our own head? One way that we can do this is the 5-second rule. The 5-second rule does absolute wonders. If you've never heard of the 5-second rule, I talk about it constantly. It's by Mel Robbins. You can watch her amazing video. And essentially, the moment the thought pops into your head, or the cue pops into your head, you need to do something, you immediately count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You get up and you do that action. And it doesn't give your brain any time to process all the other excuses that it wants to make for itself. Really, really important. Another great cue is to have an accountability buddy. This goes such a long way in absolutely everything. So, when I decided to do a 10-kilometer run last year, I needed accountability partners with me. So I had a friend who coached me. I had a friend who was doing it alongside me. Those were so important. And you can do the same in anything that you're doing in real life. And that's absolutely amazing, especially right now. I call it real life because this is the situation that we're in. Another great cue is to get in the zone. So what does that look like for you? It could be you're kind of taking time to get in a different mood. So this is something called same you, new mood. So taking time to dance it off, or put in your headphones and play your favorite song. You have to figure out what that looks like to get in the right headspace. So things that can help us when we're suffering from not being able to get from this place to this place really easy. What are these steps that we can take to prevent that from happening? Then when we do the action, we need to get to the reward space. And I want to note that a reward is different than an incentive. An incentive is, if I do this for 30 days, I'm going to treat myself to X. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to do this. That's amazing. That's not what a reward is. So a reward is something we need to see absolutely immediately after we have the action that takes place. And the purpose for this is because it reinforces positive behavior. So we see this even in dogs or babies when we teach a baby to walk, and we get so excited for them because they took their first steps, and we're giving them congratulations. This is the same kind of concept. It's positive reinforcement is going to fuel this to happen over and over again. This is something little and it needs to happen immediately. So figure out what that looks like for you. Some things people will find cheesy, and so figure out what's going to not be cheesy and actually gives you a feeling of joy. So it could be an affirmation saying, I am awesome. Look at me go. It could be doing a little dance. I love taking time for dancing, and that brings me immediate joy in my life. Another one is just marking a checkbox. If you have kind of something that you're keeping for your tracker, putting on a checkbox, that could be super satisfying for people. So we kind of have the full habit cycle in place, which is really important. I've completely lost where I am in my notes, but that's okay. I really want to go over and look at the negative side for a second. And we may go a bit over, which Des said was fine. So if we look at the negative side, again, I would suggest picking one. So whatever this looks like. And just like we talked about in positive with making things simpler, we want to do the same with negative, making things harder to do so we are not inclined to do them in the first place. So my trigger, I'm going to go with the social media one because I think a lot of us, especially right now, we're prone to being sucked into our phones. And so the trigger for me is I'm bored. I need to do something to stimulate my mind. I mean, how stimulating is scrolling your phone, but that's besides the point. So that's the trigger. The internal monologue is I don't want to be bored anymore, so I want to do something to fix that. Resulting action for me is grabbing my phone and starting to scroll social media aimlessly for God knows how long. What we want to do is figure out the new resulting action and how to get to that space. So we want to make this habit, this negative habit, much more difficult than we currently have it. So what are you doing to make sure that that's not happening? So steps that you can take is turning off your Wi-Fi. If you have an iPhone, there's a downtime setting on your app. So you can actually set the times where you have downtime and you cannot access your apps, and it makes it a lot harder to get onto anything. That's a great way to prevent it. If you don't have an iPhone, you can use the Moment app, which does a similar thing, and it'll block yourself from certain times. So these are really important. Another thing when you're looking at that I kind of forgot to mention with cues on the positive side is sometimes you'll have to make them yourself. So for example, I lost it, but I should have it on me. When I need to drink my water, I love this. It says, "Sis, drink the stupid water." Is I have alarms set throughout the day and I need to get to a certain point throughout the day. So I know where I need to be in drinking my water. So sometimes you have to create the cue yourself, and it can't always be from a specific thing that already exists. You need to take the time to either set an alarm or put it in your calendar or whatever that looks like, which is super important. So I really encourage you guys to take the time to actually look at these two sides and make a plan out of it. These are really great steps. I really focus on habits a lot with my clients. So if you're looking to learn more about this, three books I always suggest is Atomic Habits is one of them. Tiny Habits is a new book that just came out that's very good as well. And Gretchen Rubin wrote a book that's called Better Than Before that is about habit creation as well. So those are three of my favorites. And then I wanted to talk about resources. So if you're feeling a lot of struggle through this time and you can't afford a full-blown psychologist, I encourage you to look at places like Momentum Walk-In Counseling, which also offers a sliding scale, meaning you pay what you can afford to pay. That is something that we do at the Wellness Warrior as well. We have a sliding scale approach, which is very important to us. And I think that those are kind of the main steps that I wanted to share with you guys in terms of actually changing these, not from like, I need to work out, to actually, how can I implement these steps? What do I already have in my life to get to this place that I need to go? What are we at for time? Are we done?
Yeah.
We are done. And so I hope this helped. If you guys want any more information, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I hope that you have a fantastic day and take some time to actually write down some of these things, and enjoy your Wednesday. Bye, everyone.